And then
That was epic.
I cut it off a little too quick. It was a nice little crescendo and whatever they call it.
I liked it.
It stalled all the way through for me, so I didn't get to see
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It kind of blinked a little bit on my end. So everybody
I'm
let
sure-
me know if that
sure.
sucked, or was it okay?
It played perfectly on this end.
Oh, good.
it.
Good.
I'm not on internet. I'm on phone, so
Oh, yeah.
it's
Sometimes
always
you
my
get
phone.
that, depending on the signal you have. So, hello, everybody. Hi, Jenny. We miss you. How have you been?
I've been all right.
Good. Good. I knew you had a little dip there, and I was worried about you for a while. So I'm glad to see you're back out and about.
Well, that's why you pay shrinks a lot of money.
Right, exactly. Sam, how you doing?
not doing too badly, tired because I've been tidying today, but I have a cider and snacks. So
Good.
Awesome.
I'm assuming that is an alcoholic cider.
but yeah, no, I don't do non-alcoholic cider unless I have to be non-alcoholic for whatever reason. But at that point, I just do apple juice because non-alcoholic cider is shit.
Well, I don't really like cider, to be honest with you. I think it tastes vinegary to me. I don't like it. But like hard apple cider,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
different.
I like small small farm cider or fruity cider.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I'm
Will. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
because I'm on a cloudy apple one tonight because I have run out of toffee apple.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, sometimes
I'm-
you got to dip down, man.
I am completely immature, so I like my cider to be sweet and alcoholic.
Yes, that's how I like mine.
Same.
Sweet with a little bit of bite and some alcohol in it.
Yeah, same with
Will.
wine. If it's not sweet wine, I don't want to drink it.
Right. Will, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's Friday, so I have my Friday smile on. I get to sleep in like an adult.
Oh, I don't get to sleep in tomorrow. I do that on Sunday morning. The only morning I can sleep in, really.
And
Well, I usually spend Sunday, Monday with my girlfriend, so she doesn't want me to come over too early because she goes to bed at like 3:00 in the morning. She hasn't been working for 10 months now, so her sleep schedule's all fucked up.
that's what's happened to my son and myself. We've become vampires. We're on this weird schedule. We're on this really weird schedule, you know.
You think your schedule's weird?
But
well, go ahead and tell us, Sam. Don't leave me hanging like that.
Oh dear. So my schedule varies from waking up at 11 in the morning to going to bed at 6 at night, or all the way up to waking up at 5 in the afternoon and going to bed at 9 at night.
Oh, okay.
I went to bed last night at 5:30.
It can be what to schedule in terms of sleep.
Right.
Jen and I went to bed around the same time.
5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I'm regularly up until kind of 5 or 6 in the morning talking to humans.
Right. Yeah, there's
So,
humans out there to talk to.
Sam, is that because of the time change?
Yeah,
The time difference?
yeah. Well, I stream with you guys, primarily Americans, and then
Can't you make any friends in your own neighborhood?
Nope.
and then
He just has stool. Do you blame it? I'm sorry. They just have stool. Do you blame them?
and
I
then
guess
like my partners are Texan and Floridian. So if I want any attention in the evening at all,
Well, that's a really interesting couple.
Texan and Floridian.
yeah,
That is interesting.
I just picture a shirt with no
Wow.
sleeves and a really well-driven
So,
pickup truck.
yeah, I have
Covered in mud.
I have this tiny little Texan witch who's my boyfriend, and then my non-binary partner is this taller non-binary witch, because both my partners are witches. Literally.
You need to start dating someone from Massachusetts and balance this out.
I need to start dating someone from here so I can have a physical hug.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Remember,
if anybody wants to join, here's the StreamYard link. You're welcome to. I try to keep it to like 6 or 7 people on the panel, but otherwise, you are welcome to join. So
remember, Sammy, Salem, Massachusetts is where we invented American witches. So,
so today I was confronted with something that and Kevin Chaos is a friend, and he had a tire dumpster fire of a show today about race. And
am I not sub to him? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He had a real life Candace Owens, not the real Candace Owens, but a young African-American woman who was speaking ill of the community, and it took me back. I went off in the chat. I had to check myself, to not say anything extra evil to this person, but they were just from a different generation, and it showed me that I'm really bad at debating because I'm all emotion and passion. I'm all like, no.
She was talking down the Black community?
Yeah, she was Candace Owens to the core. I mean, she was reciting statistics and this and that, and you can use statistics to skew anything.
Sure.
I could get statistics right now I could pick an argument, get a statistic, and it'll always be in my favor because I'll pick the statistic,
Oh yeah, like I could pick statistics to show that pagans or atheists or Christians or any religious group is the most violent. Depending how I pick my statistics, I can get to that point easily enough.
I happen to know that 9 out of 10 Republicans distort statistics.
I
happen to know that 37% of statistics are real and the rest are made up.
I think because I've constantly had to defend my who I am and what I am. I'm race is a sore subject to me. So when I consider someone a sellout, I look at them like a Betamax tape. Like, they still make you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? It just took me back. So if you watch it, excuse my French in the chat. I didn't say anything too insulting, but I was like, and then I found out they're of a certain age group, and I was like, oh, okay, so you don't realize that people died and suffered so that you can live,
Right.
And this is why we need to perpetuate the stories of every community so that the younger people realize why they're sitting there, there.
That's exactly why I said on the last BLM stream I did, and half of you can attest to this, I said we shouldn't take down the monuments and destroy them. They should be put in like a park kind of area with a description in front of it telling the fucking truth.
Yeah, Trader Park. There. We'll call it Trader Park.
That's fine. Call it Trader Park. I'm okay with that.
I'm kidding.
Racist raceway. I don't care. Call it whatever you want. But I don't think everybody, because if everybody throws out all the monuments, then those kids are probably never going to hear that history, and they don't know what the fuck happened.
No, that's actually not.
And I think and if you lose history, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's
like how. It's a bit like how a lot of Americans I know think that the Trail of Tears involved the natives willingly moving.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much too.
Museum. We could call it the Marxist Museum. I don't know.
It caught me off guard. It really caught me off guard. And Kevin even he did a live stream after, and he's like, "Are we okay?" I was like, "You're awesome, dude. You're an awesome human being." You platformed a weirdo. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're one too, Kevin Chaos is a great guy, but that she was, and she was also being coached by her husband or significant other. So it was literally a Candace Owens, like a real life Candace Owens situation. I just don't get people that vote against their own self-interest and hate themselves enough where they discriminate against people who look like them.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I try to be understanding to other communities is because I have been discriminated against. And so I bring that understanding into other communities.
Can I ask you a racial question?
What's that?
Okay, let me preface it a little bit. In the trans world, in the trans person's reality, there's a period of time as they're going through their transition where people cannot tell if they're male or female.
Oh, the baby trans phase.
Yeah, the baby trans phase. And for a lot of trans people, if somebody misgenders them, they go crazy. You know, it's offensive, and you're transphobic, and blah blah blah. And for a lot of others, it doesn't bother them at all. And for another group, they will say, "Well, I understand people make mistakes. They, you know, I'm new to them. I realize what I look like, and are forgiving about the whole thing." I bring that up because I want to ask you the question of, do you take offense if somebody misraces you? That's what word would it be?
Thinks that he's just Hispanic or something like that instead of being part black, right?
When I was, that's actually an excellent question. When I was younger, because I came from a town of mainly white people, I was black because my father was. My father was he was dark black man from Savannah, Georgia. So in my town, everybody said you're black. When I moved to LA, no one spoke a word of English to me because they all assumed I was Hispanic. I have had there was a woman who walked up to me on the LA Metro, full sorry, dot on the head and everything. She told me I'm a disgrace to East Asians because I've allowed myself to become Americanized.
Oh wow.
Because she thought I was from India.
Sure.
I at the pot shop a month ago, no, this was like 4 months ago, a man was walking up to me and he's kind of bone up. And I told him, like, if you come any closer, it'll be the last thing you do. And he's like, where are you from? And I'm an a-hole, so I said your mom's house. But, long story short, he thought I was from India, and he was from a country where they fight people from India. And I don't even want to say what country he was from, but it's obvious because they're neighbors. And he thought that, and I told him, like don't do that around in LA because everybody kind of looks alike in a way, you know. Everybody's kind of brown here, you know. Mm-hmm. I've been I don't know, what do you call that? Misraced?
Yeah, I know. I don't know a
Basically,
word for it.
All the time. And you know what? Yeah, it happens on all sides. Yeah, I used to get offended. Now it's I consider it almost a courteous or education thing. It's a certain level. There are certain people, if they don't know something, they'll politely ask you. There's other people, if they don't know something, they're just.
You're certainly not the first biracial person I've met who I couldn't tell if they were biracial or Mediterranean or Indian in your case, like you say.
So my dad used to call me rent-a-ethnic. Depending on who I was standing next to, like he was like, "Oh, you're perfect for the movies, bro. Like you could be in Bollywood, you could be in all these different because I look like, depending on who I'm standing next to, you know, if you're my complexion,
you might even be able to get away with native too."
Let's hire to Dave and Greyheart Labs.
Yeah, let's test this out. Greyheart, say something. Get away with native too. Somebody's got to run into the background. Shut off the stream in the background, Greyheart. Let's test this out. There you go. Are you there?
You added me in pretty quick there.
Well, I just happened to be looking at the screen. I'm sorry, Dave. I'll put you back out then. I didn't mean to. Hold on. We gotta slowly integrate Dave. Everybody, hold on. Okay, now let's bring Dave in.
Yeah, I'm not really an early adapter.
I brought the whole thing up, William. Like I said, that you're certainly not the first biracial person I've known who's been in your situation. Or my situation of not knowing who and what they are. Not that it really matters that much, but it keeps happening. You know, I would think that I would figure it out and not be fooled. And fooled's not the right word. But I don't know. I this person I've known for, well over a year. Only online though. I just found out like a week or so ago is biracial, and I was just completely blown away again because I had no clue whatsoever, and I feel really stupid about it.
You know what? I don't think. I think because my family is a kaleidoscope, I never look at it like it's a big deal. Because in my family, there's people that have my last name that are half Korean. I have someone in I have one of my brothers that married a woman from Africa. I have a brother who married a woman from the UK because he was in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm. See, I had the.
You shouldn't be hard on yourself if you're not overtly.
It's always driven me crazy. Like when Obama was elected, everybody said, "Well, he's our first black president." Well, he's just as much white as he is black. Why do we automatically call him black? Obviously, he looks African American and all that kind of stuff. So that's why he gets called black. But
there you are.
We have.
Oh, thank God! I was wondering. I was losing my mind. I'm so sorry about that.
No, you're fine. That's what I said. Come in. We'll try it out. It's fine. It's an open mic. It's fine. We're just chilling.
Let's see. Here's something funny. Will is that it took me when I got online a little bit to get used to the difference between talking about kind of black people with Americans and talking about black people with Brits, because
I'm sure it's totally different.
They mean different things.
Really? How?
So when an American says a black person, what do they mean?
Skin color.
A person of color descending from Africa?
I think they mean African Americans.
Well,
and they mean specifically African Americans.
They mean black people because they don't make a distinction between somebody from the Caribbean, somebody from India, from somebody who's African.
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is that in the UK, like I have a friend who is, I think one of their parents is Jamaican. And so they say they're black, but a bunch of black Americans have told them that they're not black.
Yeah.
In America,
they are black here.
I've been to the UK. What we consider someone to be like a black American and someone from the UK who's black are literally from two different planets. And I think it's more cultural and less than has anything to do with race in any way, shape, or form. It's 100% culture. And
that's what I think is wonderful about black people from UK is they show Americans that this is just cultural. Would you just knock this bigotry off?
But
yeah,
the whole
no
thing
shit,
is,
right?
In the UK, they had the Windrush generation. After World War II, a lot of people were brought over from the Caribbean, and they did every job you could possibly think of.
Don't get me wrong, there's still racist old people here, but there's less of them.
Is that because they're dying out, or is that just simply population density?
Saying population density is awkward because the UK actually has a stupidly high population density. But
it's a tiny place, by the way.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
See, but do people identify as Afro-Caribbean where you live, Sam?
They just say black.
Because in America, people just say African American, even if they are Afro-Caribbean.
I have lots of African Canadian friends.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. That's the funny thing is if people are like, they ask you on the job application and stuff, what are you? And it's white. And I'm like, well, really, I'm Irish, English, German, Italian. I'm a quarter of each. But
yeah.
In Canada, literally everyone I know could write mixed on there and be correct, right?
Well, because really, really, we all are. If you look at where we all came from, we're all part African anyways. Our genealogy goes back to that anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a great moment when one of my I have an uncle who's not overtly racist, but he would be if he wasn't related to people that look like me. He was a cop and he was a sheriff out here for over 30 years. And my entire family, we got our blood drawn. We got these extensive DNA tests. My son, everybody in the family. And it was for somebody who was getting a PhD, and they are now a doctor because of it. But long story short, my mother, who, Simply Secular Dave, you're darker than my mom. And my mom,
Canadians are pretty white.
My mom's Mexican. My mom is Mexican, and both of her parents were Spaniards, but they were born in Mexico. So my mom is, Mexican, but she's, for all intent and purposes, a white person. So my uncle has been getting away with it his entire life. My mom takes a blood test, and after all the maps, you see one blink into from Africa into Spain, where they're the Spaniards. So basically, it confirmed that there was black people in their bloodline, that he considered himself so pure, but it was a black man who started the entire family.
Yeah,
I always thought that was ironic.
Well, when they found that 4 foot whatever tall woman, which is the oldest oldest person they have found, dead person they have found, who is related to all of it, we have her DNA, and she was in Africa. So either she went there and died, which could have happened, or we're all descendants of. Either way, we're all descendants from that area.
Dave Matthews, cool.
I very specifically don't use Facebook because my family are all racist. Like if I open it up, half the feed will be from my granddad, and it will be Bible verse, get rid of the immigrants, Bible verse, nasty Asians killing everybody, Bible verse.
I always ask, why, if you read the Bible, how can you be anti-immigrant? Because they were moving all over the place in the Old Testament.
If I'm to say something about Facebook myself, honestly, with all the pseudoscience and bull crap and MLMs and whatever on there, that's why I don't use it either. It's just like, why in the world do anybody even believe in this stuff in the first place?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I could give. See, people say, why do people believe in this stuff in the first place? And I understand why, because when I grew up, my mum used to have. The candle MLMs?
Sort of. I've heard of Mary Kay and Avalon and the typical stuff, but I'm not really sure of any candle stuff.
I still have Tupperware.
Basically, it's your standard MLM selling tactics, except it's aromatherapy candles.
Oh, so there's just scented candles, but they're supposed to heal you or something.
That sort of, they're supposed to help you relax and probably healing properties or some shit. But my mum used to have parties where people would come and introduce them and try and convince my mum to make a living selling them. And my mum also used to be an anti-vaxxer at the same time, so I grew up around batshit crazy.
I know. I actually know a woman.
Anti-vaxxers. Those are one of the things that just drive me nuts. And it gets under my skin just like that.
He's less crazy now.
Did they sell the
a vaccine?
Anti-vaxxers. Trust me.
You said it gets under my skin like that. I said like a vaccine?
Yes. Now, see, I have autism anyway, so vaccines are just system updates.
It's illegal to be an anti-vaxxer where I live. They have basically made it illegal in California.
Where are you?
Well, it's honestly, almost every state is like that. You have to give your kids vaccines to get them in school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck fighting that.
Yeah, exactly.
Please get them vaccinated to at least let them live.
That's part of what stimulated the home teaching, homeschooling phenomena.
So
I have a friend
dummy.
who
They're not schooling them; they're making them dumb.
Even for a homeschool, I recently looked into signing up Isaiah because I'm just done with the school system, and they want his current immunization records. I kind of laughed. I have them. I was like, okay, but I kind of laughed.
See, one of my friends is so deathly afraid of needles that he doesn't think he'd be able to take his kids to have vaccines. So he's asked me basically if at any point him and his girlfriend who are planning to eventually have kids, like if his girlfriend was ill and they would do a vaccine, would I be willing to like take them to the doctor or some shit to have it sorted because he wants them to be vaccinated but can't take them himself. And it's like responsible.
Yeah, I was
agreed, Maya.
I mean, honestly,
that's how I feel about it. If you want to keep your kid at home and you don't want to vaccinate, sure, keep him at home.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right. To shelter your child.
Keep them away from people and put a face mask on them anytime they leave the house because they're gonna fucking need it.
Yeah. Hey, Sam, I used to be terrified of needles to the point where I got anxiety, like the sweats and the shakes and that when I saw them. I just wasn't interested in needles at all. And years ago when I was 28, my mom talked me into giving blood for the first time, and they took me to a clinic where they babied me. Like they took me in and treated me like a sweet little angel. Come in here and let us vampire your blood out of your arm. And then I've been giving blood, and I don't like needles, but I go and give blood regularly.
See, I despise needles, but I have to have a flu shot every year for my asthma, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I mean, one needle every once in a while. For me, it's every like 60 days or whatever. I'm a big boy. I can deal with that.
So I was
doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. I'll watch him put it in. I'll go, this is gonna hurt. She's doing it wrong.
This particular guy has clinical paranoia.
Honestly,
I was really, I was asthmatic as a kid, so I've basically been sick my whole life. I'm so desensitized. I'll show him which vein. If I can spot the new phlebotomist, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you around in a while.
I inject myself every week, so I don't have a problem with needles.
See, I'm really funny in that, like, I'm squeamish if it's about like stuff on myself or if I just have to sit and watch. But if I can do something about it, I'm not squeamish at all, which I think is the ambulance cadet in me, because I was an ambulance cadet for 5 years. That I'm just like, sees some sort of injury or whatever, is like, needs to do something about it, is immediate response. I kind of put that down to being the oldest of 8 kids, being an ambulance cadet for 5 years, and trauma.
Yeah.
My older brother is anti-needle. He used to pass out as a kid when we got like our polio vaccinations and stuff like that. He just boom. And I remember him as late as like high school having a problem with getting shots and stuff. But he says he's over it now.
You know, I was gonna say, if someone's really deathly afraid of needles, don't join the military.
He would always leave the room though when I had to inject my father.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. I thought you were done. I apologize.
I don't know. He's being.
Yeah, don't go in the military because they have you go down a line and they make everybody pull their sleeves up on both sides, and you walk down a line and they just shoot you from both sides with the pneumatic, and that's how you get it. Yep.
Quick and efficient. I like that.
Oh, it's quick and efficient, all right. And then you walk up, you're like, ow, ow, and they don't care if it's. I mean, they'll try to miss the other one by a little bit, but they'll put it right next to it, and then you're done, and you go back to the barracks, and your arm is like, you go to the barracks, and your arm's like swollen up, and they're like, do push-ups.
Oh dear.
With your horrible rough army clothes on.
Hey B, because I'm not mod, I can't share it, but you should share that link that I sent earlier.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that. So before we started the stream, we were BSing, and Sam mentioned that they have what to do in case of zombies, and they literally do, and not just in case of zombies, but it's on a CDC website.
Yep.
Oh,
so
no.
the CDC have a zombie preparedness page.
Yeah, they have a zombie preparedness section. So everybody check that out. I
And
find
somebody
that
got paid $150,000 a year to write that.
Yeah, and I could have done it.
Some goon got paid $150,000, some outrageous amount, you know.
Now, why can't we get Julie a job like that writing shit? She'd love that.
I know. And the reason that they give is that it gets people engaged with medical concepts. But I'm still gonna say that I think it's because Prince Philip exists.
They did that page so that other health departments around the country could just copy and paste the zombie page onto their own, so their citizens know how to deal with zombies too. It's kind of a national policy. It was introduced by the Green Party, and well, never mind.
I watched The Walking Dead every week until they got rid of Glenn. So I know what to do if zombies show up. I'm ready. I am ready.
Look, man, you guys laugh at me for not having a bunch of windows in my tiny home. When the zombies come, who's going to be laughing, motherfucker? Who's going to be laughing? Ain't no zombie getting through my little windows.
Yeah. Zombies would probably struggle to get up where I am. I'm on top floor. Which is, I think in American terms, it's third story.
I would weld
is it the third floor up?
Well, the thing is, we start at ground floor, not first floor, and so I always I have to try and remember that Americans start with the ground floor being the first floor.
So you say ground floor, then first and second, and you live on the second floor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you're on the third floor for us, right?
Wait,
but actually, that's not true because, I mean, in general, we say first, second, or third floor. But a lot of businesses and big buildings will call it the ground floor or level. Like on the elevator, it will say ground or level on it.
I had really rich friends and they had 3-story houses, if that helps. But they lived in mansions on golf courses.
See, but that's how do you do that then, Sam? Do you call it a 3-story or do you call it a 2-story?
2-story.
Oh.
So if somebody says they have a 2-story, they really have a 3.
Yeah, it's a
in UK terms, yeah.
Right.
But
and then what you'd call a 1-story house would just be a bungalow, or a flat, depending,
or a rancher.
Ox, not high enough. Sam, watch the movie Z.
If you're calling
that is a great movie.
2-story house a 2-story, then a 1-story house is non-existent.
I mean, in fairness, I know roughly how many zombies are in the local graveyards, so I do know roughly what I'm up against. I've been encountered the graves in the local graveyards.
You could make a local map for that and sell it probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, future zombies.
Yeah.
Right.
They did that in
Does anybody know the name of that TV show that they held on for a while? It was like Z Nation or
Sci-Fi Channel? Z Nation. It was the Z Nation.
Is that the one where that one guy, they like gave him some stuff to see if he could survive being and not get it? It was like they were trying some kind of vaccine on him because he was an inmate.
Yes,
and he ended up being half human and half zombie. And like the zombies,
he became an integral character.
Make the zombies leave people alone and stuff, and they'd like hang out with him and stand there, and they were like his bitch. That's a great series if you guys haven't watched that. That is really funny. I never saw the end of it, but it's good.
They make amazing B movies, and Z Nation was supposed to be a parody of The Walking Dead, and it became something that people ended up watching. So that show was awesome. It was started off as a parody because there's one episode they get abducted by aliens, and then they find out it's a Scooby-Doo mystery. You know, that show's crazy. I watched that show for a while.
Theo said in the UK they just bite on the left side, so they must bite on the right in the US.
I've seen that movie.
I love that Hollywood invented the zombie. I think it's the perfect foil for people who like to make and watch violent films, but are uneasy with the idea of having violent films that shoot and kill people.
Well, you know, back in the day, it used to be called the undead.
Yeah, zombies.
Well, Jenny knows that. I'm telling other people. They used to be called the undead, and then I don't know, when did they coin the name zombie? Do you know, Jenny?
I think they were using zombie back with the 50s, back with what's his name, Roger Corman. I think he used zombies back in the early 60s and shit. I don't know.
So, zombie is actually a Haitian word for the undead. I want to say
I found it.
Early 1980s or something was the first.
No, it actually says the English word zombie is first recorded in 1819 in History of Brazil by the poet Robert Southey in the form of zombie without an E, Z-O-M-B-I, actually referring to the Afro-Brazilian rebel leader named Zumbi and the etymology of his name in zombie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, a writer in Brazil, 1819. We just didn't know.
I had a friend of mine who was into little miniature, like French Revolutionary soldiers and stuff like that, and he'd paint them. And he made for me an undead pizza delivery man once. With a little Domino's hat, it was a skeleton with a pizza.
So what if they have a basement, Sam? Sandy wants to know.
Then that's a basement. Though
so it's still a 2-story with a ground level and a basement then.
Wouldn't that be 4 stories?
Yeah. The thing is that if you have a basement, you're rich. Like, I had a friend who had a basement, and it was like, oh, so you're middle class.
If you have a basement by the coast in Florida, you have a flood in your house.
Yeah.
See,
when I moved there, somebody said something about missing having a basement. And I was like, why don't you have a basement? And they were like, we're in Florida. Nobody has basements. And I'm like, I lived in like the hills, the fucking Blue Ridge Mountains, man. Everybody's got a fucking basement. You know what I mean? But no doubt it was funny to me. They were like, no, the water table's too high. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a thing here. But like that friend who I mentioned, it was like the other big, oh, you're middle class moment was the fact he just casually had a piano in his living room.
That was a thing. That was a thing. When I was like, my parents made me take piano lessons, but I think it was more of a keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing.
Piano in the house means you're either rich or you're a grandma.
I have a keyboard right here just because I know how to play. It's a skill I never lost.
Can you play?
And I can play the violin and the banjo, and I play the guitar. Yeah.
Nels, I don't have a basement either, because if I put a basement in, I wouldn't be able to move my house. So
and
I don't have a basement either.
I thought I was really talented, and then I got on the internet. I saw people. I'm like, holy cow!
See, I can play bits of piano because I had piano lessons at one point, but I can like play the first kind of minute of the Imperial March, and I can play like, bits of songs and shit, but. Like, I know someone who's memorized every Billy Joel song on the piano.
Nice. I love Billy Joel.
I know a bunch of like...
I mean, he's a dick in person, but I like his music.
See, my dad says that he tends to be less of a dick kind of with people who he works with, because my dad used to do sound tech, and so he's like had lunch with Billy Joel and shit.
Oh, I'm sure he's different with people that he deals with like in a work environment, but as far as how he's here in the States, I don't know about anywhere else. I know people that have met him or bumped into him or heard him talking to other people, and he was an asshole.
Oh yeah, I kind of figured that he was an asshole in general because he's famous. I am gonna disappear.
Good job, Theo.
Oh, Sammy.
So I'm gonna disappear. Will check Twitter DMs.
I will. And remember, I'm a boomer, so give me some time.
You're not as much of a boomer as me and Dave. I think Dave's like 10 years older than me or something.
Like I always say, I'm just a little slow on the uptake when it comes to technology.
Yeah. I will see you on Tuesday, Will, and I need to try and remember to chat with you and Maddie about speaking. Why is my brain gone blank? Speaking to John, as who Maddie suggested as a guest for the podcast.
Oh, hey! Before you go, Sam, I'm thinking about for my equality on Monday. Just getting people to come in that are like non-binary, trans, blah blah blah. So if you can do that, let me know, because I was going to ask you and Jenny about that later.
What day of the week's Monday? Not day of the week.
Trans
Monday?
What day of the month is Monday? 29th.
29th, I think.
I don't know. I don't have a calendar up right now.
B, are you talking Transvisibility Day?
What's that?
Are you talking about doing something on Transvisibility Day?
I don't know what day that is, Jenny. I'm sorry.
The 31st, Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Well, that's normally my history stream, but I mean, we can do it on Wednesday instead if you want. We can change it up. I don't care.
I'd be willing
Purple's
to
doing a
but
stream
you
on
should
Wednesday,
know
I
that that's the one day of the year that I charge to be on. And,
Oh, okay. Okay.
$100.
I'll try to sell some Teespring shirts so I can pay for you.
No,
Okay.
we'll just get George Soros to pay for it.
I'll tell you what, Jenny. I'll give you enough to buy 8 hats at that store.
All right, that's fine.
That's how much I've made off of Teespring so far. $8. She said she had this hat, and she's like, "It's her most expensive one." It was only $1. I only get cheap.
Yeah.
I buy cheap hats, so I said, "Well, I'll give you.
Actually,
I'll buy you 8 hats."
because I put the scarf on it, and that was also $1.
Oh, so it costs 2.
Yeah, so it's a $2 hat.
I can't afford you. Forget it. Forget it. So, Dave, how you been? Somebody thought you fell asleep because you haven't said a word. So here
See
you
you
go.
guys.
See you later,
Bye,
Jay.
Sam. Thanks, honey.
No, I think it's because I usually talk too much. They're
I
probably-
won't let you do that.
Yeah.
I
But
talk
I
way
was-
more than everybody.
I don't know how old you think I am, but I was born before Woodstock, so I'm up there.
Well, how old are you?
I'll be 53 in June.
Oh,
Awesome.
you only have 3. Wait a minute. What day in June?
I'm not saying on here.
Put in the private chat.
Okay.
Well, because I'm a June baby, so I was just curious.
Oh, are you? I'm
Yeah.
born. Actually, I was on with Andy, Andy Hall.
Yeah,
Laughing
laughing
in
in disbelief.
Oh,
I know you were.
on
I
the
was
stream.
listening to that.
We were talking about being born in the same month and the same year, and he said he was going to have me on the Drinking Out Loud for the end of that month, so we can celebrate our birthdays together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Aw,
I wasn't-
thanks,
I wasn't
Ox.
in high school when you were born.
Love you, baby. Dave isn't a boomer either. So, Sandy, what is the definition of a boomer? What age are you when the boomer starts?
The boomer generation starts in like 1946, right after the World War II, and
Okay.
goes on to like mid 60s. I think they not officially, but people think of it ending in like 64, 65, something like that.
Okay, so you have to be 55 or over to be a boomer.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I can't remember how old you are, Jenny. Are you a boomer?
Yes.
What
Oh
about
yeah,
if,
yeah. Okay.
what if somebody
Okay,
is-
so really, there's only one person in the chat that's a boomer. I mean, this panel's boomer is Jenny.
What if somebody's
There's no
a-
way Grey Heart's that old.
A mid-strength boomer.
I'm only 23, soon to be 23, so no.
See, I was
I'm like
right.
the baby.
What if-
Almost.
what if-
Well, Sam was the baby, but I am now.
What
Dave,
if somebody's 69? What about 69? Is that a boomer?
Dave,
70?
3 years and 13 days after you.
Oh, okay.
I know a boomer. See, I was raised by a boomer. My dad was 14 years older than my mom.
If somebody's older than 75, I think they're technically not a boomer.
Oh no, my dad was born in 1939. He passed, so I can say all his all he was yeah, he was born yeah, because in 1939 the world population was 2
Okay,
billion.
45 to 63. That makes
Thank
sense.
you, Maya. See, this is why I love Maya. She should just pop off with some shit in the chat and straighten everybody out.
Yeah.
And she's a hottie.
And she's hot. And she's brilliant.
It's hard to tell from here.
I'm gonna tell you, if I was single and she was gay, I'd be like, hey, what's up? I'm gonna come for a visit. And no.
Hey, Will?
No, yes, I would. If
My
she
dad
allowed
was
me.
13 and a half years older than my mother, too. That must have been a thing back in the day.
I think so. I have brothers and sisters that are like people my age that are usually the age of someone's parents that are my brothers and sisters. Because there's a huge gap between my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, there's only 5 years between my sisters and myself.
See, Never was born in 58. Sandy was.
My sister is the closest one to me, but I have a brother who's like 14 years older than me. One who's like 17 years older.
Is all your family out in LA area in California, or
they're all over the place?
Oh, okay.
They are all, but like my side of I can say my side of the family, like my pop's side of the family is from Georgia, and my mom, she's from LA because their family came up from Mexico. My grandmother tells a crazy story. She's passed too. She lived to be 99. She came illegally, like, let's see, she was born in 1919, so she came in like the 20s or 30s. And my grandfather, he had money, so they drove over the border. They in there with their stuff in their car, and they all moved. They all ended up in LA.
Oh, nice.
Lineage is crazy though, because my mom and dad are from two completely different worlds, but my dad, he wasn't right wing, but he was like really hardcore, like I love America, right or wrong, like Ronald Reagan brainwashed. And my mom was still to this day is like a Kennedy Democrat, like give everybody hugs and loves everybody, And
Wow.
they made it work for almost like 50 years,
That's awesome.
So that's why when I hear people nowadays and they're like, I couldn't be with this person or that, like, I guess people are more hardcore nowadays.
But Maya has a point. She said, being a boomer is not your age, it's your mindset. And it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that are outside of the lines of those, what you are, Gen X, millennial, or whatever, but they don't act like it. I mean, I have like my friends that I rent off of, they're 30 and they are mentally mature wise every bit like 42, 43. And it's amazing, so you can't, they don't act like millennials at all.
I always say that because my parents, they partied hard, but they handled their business. So I always say, like, I was raised by adults.
Right.
because they always handled their business. And like, that was the one thing, the example I got from my parents, like they partied hard, but no matter what, they'd wake up and go to work the next day. Or church or whatever the obligation was. If I had soccer at 7 a.m, my dad was there with his coffee, with his sunglasses on,
Right.
Aspirin bottle in his pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, what were you gonna say, Dave? Go ahead. You haven't talked.
I was just gonna say to Will's point about people getting along and how his parents got along and how it's different now. I think there's a lot more polarization in our society than there was back then. Sure. I think there's an emphasis on those little things matter more than they actually should, really.
Do you think it's because we're over inundated with the ideas now because of the internet and mass media?
Absolutely. Communication and media is changing everything. Yeah.
I think so too.
Some for the good and some for maybe not so good. I don't know. Maybe it'll turn out to be good in the end. I don't know. There's
still, though, I think a much bigger bias today about what do they traditionally call them, May, September, or May, December romances than there used to be. I clearly remember in the 60s how an age difference of 5, 10, 15, even 20 years was not considered awful. In fact, with the young people, it was considered almost a badge of honor because it proved that you weren't rigid like your parents, that you were more progressive and all that kind of stuff. It was a hippie thing,
It wasn't an extraordinary thing back then.
Right.
That's my bro.
Although it depended on where it came from. I mean, there was definitely couples that people read the men as some lecherous old man, and what's he doing with that teeny bopper, kind of stuff. But there was lots and lots of couples that were way apart in age, and it just didn't matter.
Do you know in LA,
we're the other tradition that the woman was older than the man?
We're kind of mean here, and I used to go to a lot of hockey games. Whenever you see like a really younger woman with an older man, you always assume that guy's a millionaire.
Right. He's really well hung. Or really good in bed. Yeah.
Or you turn around and look up in the skybox. All those guys have wives younger, that.
But are those women with them their wives?
That too depends on which skybox
Might
you look
not
into.
be.
Right.
Right. Might not be. So, Greyheart had a topic that you want to discuss. Go ahead, Greyheart.
Question: does screen share work on this?
Yeah.
Screen share?
Oh,
Yeah, because I basically have like a photo, something from Caleb Bennett. If you guys ever heard of her, Celebrity Hangout. Yeah.
Oh no.
And
Yeah.
honestly, it's nothing crazy. It's just it just kind of boils my blood a bit considering the topic it is. But if screen share works on this, I see if I can try doing that. Okay.
Yeah. Just click on the screen share down the bottom.
She's the new generation, like of bigots. She's a bigot. She's a turf. She's an all-inclusive hater.
Really? I haven't even. Honestly, this is how I live my life. If I see somebody that's an asshole, I just go Control Alt Delete. I just get rid of them. That's just what I do, and that way I don't have to fucking deal with it, man.
Here we are.
Okay, B, just so you know, it's Alt F4 to delete them, not Control Alt Delete.
Well, whatever. It shuts it all down. Hilarious. That's all that matters.
This was hilarious.
So that's too small. I can't read it. What is?
Oh, do you want me to just sketch the words then? Hang on.
Yeah, Little Miss take the vote away from women. Just have to say.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's what we should do. We should all go back to barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
Is that what you said?
And every woman should be married to a man.
You want me to read it out loud, Jen?
It says,
because honestly, I can if you want.
Yeah, I think you should.
Oh, go ahead, Greyheart.
It says, I love cooking for my husband and love traditional gender roles. It says, spreading their legs for OnlyFans, every woman should learn to do the same. Reject feminism, embrace being feminine. Really?
Yeah, I saw this one. And I commented on it.
Okay, so as somebody who cooks every day, if you saw how she chopped those carrots, she does not cook. She's never cooked a day in her life.
No. And I've done onions and everything else too, and she didn't. No, that's not how you do it, honey.
I cook every day, even on the weekends when I'm by myself, because it's just cheaper to buy real food.
It really is.
Yeah.
Did you see that she put the? Did you see that she put the noodles in before the water was boiling?
I was so mad. I could see. I can't watch stuff like that.
Oh, so she literally does cooking on the show?
It was
that
for
video
show.
She did. I don't know if she does it on a regular basis.
If she does, she is not a any shape performer.
She called WAP, Cardi B's WAP. She renamed it White American Privilege.
She understood what WAP was made by, right?
Mess.
She doesn't like wet ass pussy, huh?
No.
Maya, I just have to say one thing, Maya. I don't even know what OnlyFans is. That's how much I don't have it.
If I remember correctly, OnlyFans was like some. At least from my understanding, it's basically like a sort of a pornographic site where you post pictures of yourself and you have like a pay wall.
Yeah.
For people who would want to see that. And it's not a bad thing in my opinion. Sex work is sex work and work.
Yeah, I mean whatever. People want to pay it, she wants to flaunt it. That's people's business. I don't give a shit.
And a woman wants to do that or a guy, I don't care.
You know,
the problem I have with this is basically trying to put those down and saying she's higher level and better than they are.
She's a mess.
Dude.
You know what has really blown
not
me
only
away
that, but
OnlyFans?
has your husband ever cooked for you? Has anybody of your siblings or anybody in your males in your family ever cooked for you? Is that not cooking? Is that not breaking traditional gender roles?
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a group of men that if they ever become single, they're gonna starve to death and eat McDonald's. That's all I heard.
Cooking, basically the skill set of anybody who wants to live. Literally,
we looked forward to when my dad cooked. My dad was an excellent cook.
Yeah, my dad was too.
Always something amazing, It was always something amazing.
I learned a cooking thing from my father 5 days before he died.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
So it was like a lifelong thing, and I will never forget the last thing he taught me. And I feel stupid that I never knew it before. Cinnamon. I was making meatloaf. He says, put a teaspoon of cinnamon in that.
I've never done that.
What? Are you kidding? And so I did, and it was like, I couldn't believe how good it was.
You know, with my dad, before he passed, we had him write down like all the old country songs he knew in his head that he was taught when he was a little kid, all the old like hymns and things that like my dad spoke Gula, which was like a passed down slave language. Basically, we had him write down the alphabet. It's important to pass these things on.
Well, I know you guys like puns and you like cooking, so I'll tell you this, but don't tell anybody and don't let this get out on the internet. But,
oh, did you want to read that, Jenny? I'll put it back up.
Go
ahead, Dave.
I used to date a girl whose last name was a specific room in the house, and all of my friends used to make the joke, Dave's good in the kitchen.
Touche.
My mom was the majority cook at my house, but and usually did all of it. But when he had to, my dad could have done Thanksgiving dinner if he wanted to. He was good enough. But my mom really enjoyed cooking, and so she mostly did all of it.
I liked my dad's cooking because he had been around the world, so he like my mom would always cook more like traditional Hispanic food, and my dad would cook some crazy stuff, and he'd be like, "Let's have couscous, let's have this," or and he'd make it from scratch. Crazy stuff. He'd be like, "Let's have couscous."
Okay, somebody's got that stream on in the background. Turn it down, mute it.
You know, it took me a long time to get used to the sound of my own voice. It
drives me. I can't do it. I'll sit there and listen to right myself.
Now. I cannot. Voice, but at least I'm trying to. This is the reason why I'm on stream, because honestly, I want to hear a playback of what I'm saying, have a better, liking to it rather than just simply hearing and go, I'm cringing.
A year ago, I walked up to someone I knew and I was like, "Why didn't you tell me I had a nasally ass voice?"
Hi, Randy.
I felt betrayed. I was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" You don't know how you sound, And then I heard how I sounded and I was mortified.
No, that's not what it is with me. I mean, I don't think I sound like that, but I can kind of see how I would sound like that. I hate for me, it's just I hear myself talking and I start repeating what I'm saying in the stream.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. If somebody has me on speakerphone and I'm like, yeah, so the other day I hear, yeah, so the other day, and I'm like, yeah, so the other day. Why am I'm saying this 3 times now.
B, do you remember the good old days when you had to voice record your own outgoing answering machine message and listen back to it and go, "Oh, that's terrible."
Oh yeah.
So there's a rap song from this group called De La Soul, and I used to always sing this song. It was "Hey, how you doing?" I won't sing the whole song, but that was always my message. And I'm just old enough to have to record messages.
Yeah. I remember doing that. Like, you get around the answer machine and be like, "Hi, you've reached," and then everybody would say their name. B, Jenny, Will, Dave, Greyheart.
Funny, with my age, I wonder what an answering machine is if it wasn't for the fact that I'm old enough to look what is on the internet.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it was cool, though, because it was like a thing. It took you like an hour to get it right, and everybody's laughing and having a good time. And then you call the house and you hear your own message. You're like, "Oh, I remember that day."
That was kind of like when I had a beeper. I thought everybody thought I was so cool because I had a beeper, and the truth is, I just had a really overprotective mother. Everybody thought I was. They're like, "Oh, you're so cool."
Yeah. No, I remember doing the audio for the answering machine, and then you'd have to like, "Oh, that's no good," and you have to rewind the tape to exactly the right spot to get it for oh, what a pain in the butt that was.
That was a mess.
I avoided getting an answering machine for years and years and years because I hated how I sounded, and then finally had to get one for work reasons. And my message was ring ring ring. I'd answer and I just said, "Leave a message." I want to talk to you. I don't care who you think I am. Just leave a message.
I kind of went through a bit of a crisis when I heard my voice. I was like, "Do I really sound like that? That means every person for the past 40 years has had to put up with this voice."
I had somebody. I can't remember if my brother did it to me or a friend. I think it might have been my brother Bruce. I can't remember, but so I called them, and a voicemail popped up, and it was like, "Hey, you've reached whoever it was. Just leave a message after the beep," and then it beeped, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm just calling to see how you're doing and everything," and well, damn, I guess I missed you. And then he said, "No, you didn't." And I was like, "Shit, you said that just like a fucking message." He even beeped with his mouth, and it sounded like a message. He got me totally. Just fucked my head up, man. Totally fucked me up.
Anything about my own voice is basically the fact that I think I sound younger than I should be. That's my main problem with mine.
I know
you do sound very young, but you know what? When you're like 80, you're gonna sound like 55 or 60. You're gonna be so happy. It's fine.
And the thing is, in my case, I also look younger than I do, so it's like, really, does that help? No.
I'm gonna guess that you're between 5 foot and 5'3".
Honestly, I'm basically like 5'3"-ish, sort of like 5'3.5", but in reality, I'm just like 5'3".
And you weigh between 120 and 130. No, 110 and 130.
Try 240 and basically fat as hell. I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm showing your voice. Didn't know. Hey, it's cool. I was 230 at one point. I was fat as hell too, so it's all good.
I don't say that with a face and anything else.
Yeah.
You know what? If you want to see my weight gain, like we said the other day, go back to the Santi Sane video. It is insane to see in a year how much weight I have gained.
You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go back and look at that video and go, I didn't know that was Will.
Oh.
You know what it is?
You did that video way before I started talking to you.
Oh yeah, that was a year ago.
Yeah, see.
But that was like right when the pandemic started, and that was right when I started making cakes and cornbread for no reason.
Hey, there's a perfect good reason, because you want to eat it.
And then,
that's a good reason.
Exactly. That's why I like to cook stuff myself. Because I want to eat it.
Dangerous.
Isaiah and I have turned into hobbits. We have breakfast, and then we have second breakfast. Then we have lunch.
Then you have second lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, if you guys are happy doing it and you're enjoying the food, okay, I don't care.
Oh yeah,
I got some chub again. Got a little chub going.
I bought a wok. You know, I make all kinds of stuff. I love cooking though.
But there's nothing wrong with eating good food and eating healthy.
Absolutely. And you know, it's funny you would say that, because I eat healthier when I make my own mix of like cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. I used to buy bags of it, and then I went to the store and I'm like, I should just get a huge thing of cauliflower, a huge thing of broccoli. You can get a bag of carrots my size for like $10, you know.
Yeah.
But then you'll have to cut them up properly when you cook them.
Yeah.
And don't throw them in cold water. Right.
I have a really nice mandolin for cutting them on the angle and everything. It's
Oh yeah. So I've fallen in love with cooking.
Yeah. Well, I went out and bought when I moved in here, there was an exceptional set of pots on sale at what we call Canadian Tire up here. And they had this really, really high-end set of pots, regular like $2,600 Canadian on for $600. And I had a whole bunch of, Canadian Tire money, the coupon money they give away. So I went out and got this, and man, like to have a really good set of cookware, like a really proper professional set, it makes a difference in the quality of food you make, and it makes a difference in how much you want to cook at home.
That's like when I bought a cast iron skillet.
Oh, I have one of those too. Yeah.
Because I love down home country cooking, you know.
You better season that damn thing right. Let me tell you, I've had to season a lot of cast iron in my life. If you don't season it right, it'll stick worse than a stainless steel pan with no coating. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And no oil. Like it'll just stick. Yeah.
I have the cast iron griddle that I learned how to cook on. Back in the early 60s. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, my mom had one of those.
Still well seasoned.
Yeah, my mom had one of those. We had a 6-burner stove. I guess her and Dad figured, I'll just buy 1 burner for each kid, and then we can feed everybody. I don't know, but so she always, I think it was over on the right side or something, in the middle. She always just left it there most of the time. She was always cooking like pancakes, or she was doing some potato something, or sauteing something. So she used it for everything. That thing was great, man.
I once had this very temporary roommate who thought that you had to scrub cast iron cookware clean every time.
No. I was just putting that up. Read that, Jenny. Read the panel, the screen.
Yep. So I've had I don't like people like that.
You don't use. I've done that, man. Oh, I've screwed up some cast irons and had to like clean them off and redo them.
I had a Doctor Who cup that when you poured hot liquid into it, the TARDIS rose, and it said, "Do not put in the washing machine." I had 2 of them. My sister, she came over for Thanksgiving. She was cleaning, and we don't get along now, so I'm gonna totally talk trash about her right now. She put both of them in the washing machine and destroyed both of my Doctor Who cups.
Damn it!
At the same time, and still to this day, I don't want to buy a 3rd one because I know it's just gonna happen again.
You mean a dishwasher?
Yeah, you're not supposed to put.
Oh, you said a washing machine. I was like, why'd she put them in the freaking washing machine?
That was kind of my question, actually.
Pot's legal in California, so she puts it in the washing machine, and she destroyed both of the cups. Now they're just great pencil holders.
Oh. So I have to ask: does the TARDIS permanently down or up?
It appears.
I wasn't thinking one day.
On one side in outer space, and on the other side, it's somewhere in the UK.
So now it doesn't show at all?
I have the box because I'm a hoarder.
No, it's fine. Let's not get that deep into it. I was just trying to be polite. No.
How is dangerous with me when we're talking about nerd stuff? I get deep into the nerds.
I don't care. Get down and nerdy. I don't care.
No, but still to this day,
let them catch you riding nerdy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Do it, man.
Do any of you guys have a pressure cooker or know what one is?
Yes.
Oh, I grew up canning
God.
vegetables with a pressure cooker. I know all
My
about pressure
mother destroyed more food in a pressure cooker than was humanly possible. My mother was not a good cook at all, and she could turn vegetables into soup, puree. I don't know what you'd call it. Goo.
So see,
they're still edible. I'll eat it.
Canning or cooking in it?
No, she'd make like mashed potatoes that you could pour out.
Ew.
Yeah. Oh, and carrots.
You are reminding
Well, see, the point of those kind of devices is to not have to put a bunch of water in it.
Yeah.
So she was probably adding water like it was a pot on the stove, and it would evaporate.
Well, it was. I have to admit, it was better than the burnt stuff she pulled off the stove.
Hey, tasty mush is way better than burnt hard food. Yes.
So mom wasn't
I suppose.
So mom wasn't a very good cook, huh?
I learned to cook for survival.
Well, that's what I was going to say about cooking. My mother told, I don't know if she told all the boys in the family. Maybe if my brother hears in the chat, he can say whether she said it to him. But so my other brother, not this one, says that she said to him, if you want to survive, there's one thing you got to know how to do, and that you got to know how to feed yourself.
Yeah, right.
So he spent a bunch of time in the kitchen with her, cooking with her. And I'm telling you, that motherfucker, he's a dick, and he's just like a pain in the ass, and he's toxic, but he can fucking cook.
Yeah.
He cooks good, man. Yeah.
Neither of my
There's no bad food.
Learned how to cook until they were well out of high school. And
oh, really?
It took them forever to learn how to boil water.
No, he started cooking at like 13.
My mom had me starting to learn how to cook by the time I was 8.
I was a Boy Scout. They teach you how to be a hobo. They teach you how to cook outside, how to start a fire.
As a Girl Scout on a equivalency scale, I can attest to that plainly. Ever heard of like a dump cake or something? Like a iron cast skillet, and you just dump water and whatever like canned fruit, like peaches or cherries, and some cake mix, and just cooking in that. And it's like one of the best things you could ever have on a camping trip. Other than s'mores, those are my top favorites.
I better call the doctor and get that hole in my lip fixed.
Trying to drink it through the bottom of your chin again.
It's so good that way, Dave. It's kind of extra filtered because of the chin hairs I have. It gets a little good filter going, gets a little exfoliation going. Then I just drink it after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so
Horror meat. Oh, tons of mice.
That is absolutely horrible. I'm going to tell you, man. I'm just going to say, I'm just going to throw this out there, and I'm sorry for people that don't, because my wish would be that everybody had a mother like mine. And I'm going to tell you, she was fucking amazing. Like, she was patient and kind and she was all the things you want in a mom. Like, the only thing that she didn't have was money. She was everything else awesome, though. And I'm not that I think money's awesome, but it would have been helpful to not almost starve a few times as a child, but that wasn't her fault. But she just, that woman, everything she touched came out. Oh my God. Like, what did you do to this?
Yeah.
I put spices in it. What spices? Some of that. How much? I don't know. I just throw it in.
That's how
how do you cook like that? That's how she always cooked everything. So we'd say, well, how much did you put in, Mom? She'd go, about a palm full, and she'd show us our palm and this, because she never measured anything. We'd go, so half a cup. Yeah, half a cup. Okay, write that down.
My grandma was like that because she was from the old country. Everything she cooked tasted better. Still to this day, I'm kind of a snob about Mexican food. Still to this day, because she made everything from scratch. She made her own tortillas. You'd walk in her house and everything was, it's just a good way to get fat. I would just walk. I'd walk. When I was her house was by our old junior high.
Right.
My grandparents were old. So they would eat at like 4 p.m. I'm walking home from school. I would eat dinner with them and then walk home and eat dinner with my
Dude, that is awesome.
Oh, my
grandparents had that growing up.
Oh,
like in my house, there were so many people, you had to like fight for food.
My family was like
if you were like seriously, if you were really hungry and there was left, there's the extras sitting in the middle, man, you better you gotta watch everybody, because people start grabbing it off the plate. And there's been more than one time in my life I picked up my fork and went like this for another pancake, and it disappeared, and I was like, damn, all right, I'm not getting any more today. Because I've always eaten kind of slow. But when I was a kid, man, I learned to start shoveling that food, and we'd like look at each other and be like, grab it real quick, Fuck,
in my family, we rarely had leftovers. Whoever had like kitchen cleaning duty that night would always eat the rest of the food while they're putting.
Why not? No, food didn't last in our house. Mom always made like a little bit extra, and there'd be like a little container of, and then the next day we'd all go in there and share it, because we all want to eat what was left over from the night before, because it was so good. Wasn't enough to feed anybody, but we'd share it or whatever.
I did not grow up with this experience. I grew up in the opposite experience, where my father would say, come on, Tuffy, let's go for a walk after dinner. And we'd go to McDonald's and get a hamburger and fries.
Holy shit. Cool dad.
So
that's because Mom cooks so bad, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So you literally brought up a story. Sorry, I dropped my J. You brought up a story about.
Don't you do that? There's no drug abuse allowed on any stream of mine, young man.
Hey, I'm
hold on to
Canadian,
that
we can do
joint.
So my ex-wife, we get along now, but she was a terrible cook, and she would cook for my parents. My parents live really close, and she would cook for my parents. And one day after dinner, I'm walking my parents back to their house. And my dad, he's like, hey, come back in like 15 minutes. I'm going to teach you how to be married forever. And I said, all right. I came back. He's like, get in the car. And he took me to Jack in the Box. He's like, your wife's sucking. Your wife's cooking sucks. You need to get a fast food habit. Yeah, you need to get a fast food habit because her cooking sucks. Don't tell her, throw all this away in the parking lot right here. Eat it here and go home and don't say a word. Don't ever tell on yourself. But he was so
the only good lie in a marriage you'll ever have.
My parents were so polite, they were so polite. I'll speak up. I'll be like, hey, put some salt in here or something.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't say anything either, and we all grew up like that. And I remember going to someone's house, and now, mind you, my mom was like half Italian, so she grew up with her mother cooking Italian food. She cooked Italian shit. So, oh shit, what was I gonna say? Fuck.
Well, let me jump in. My mom was a great gardener.
I lost it.
My mom, we had a huge garden full of berries and radishes and rhubarb and carrots and everything you could want.
Nice.
So I'd say to my mom, hey, can I have a cookie? And she'd say, no, don't spoil your dinner. Go out and play in the yard. And I'd go raid the garden knowing that I didn't want to eat what she was cooking.
I can dig it, man.
My grandmother used to make these bran muffin cookies that had like real carrot, raisins, almonds. We called them colon blow cookies, but they were the greatest cookies.
But they make you shit really bad.
They'd clean you out. They would clean you out. Bran muffin from top to bottom. I might go buy a bran muffin tomorrow morning. Oh, they were the greatest things ever. But they were healthy. They were like, they were healthy.
Hey, not to disrupt the chat, but I'm going to need to let my dog out for a moment. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Okay, yeah. That's cool.
I got to tell you about my mom's cookies. A buddy of mine, who is still a very good friend of mine, we met in the first day of grade 10, and somewhere along in I think it was probably grade 11, he came over to my house, and my mom had made cookies, and she said, here, take a couple of these to school with you. And my buddy kind of tried to bite it, and it wasn't happening. And I looked at it, and I'm like, no, not the cookie. I kid you not. We played hockey together for years and years and years. We dropped this cookie on the road in front of my house and passed it back and forth for 8 blocks to my school and had to shoot it against a concrete wall to break it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You reminded me whenever my parents would burn something, they would always be like, looks like we're eating hockey pucks. Because it'd be all scribbled in black, it's all it always would resemble a hockey puck, Oh,
did you see what Mice wrote? My mother's is a gaslighting sociopath, and the rest of the family never grew the balls to stand up to her, so they all have stomach problems. Let me tell you what. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I remember what I was saying now. So, my mother was always polite, and she always taught all of us to be polite. So I was at my friend's house, and her grandmother came into town. And she was making everybody her famous spaghetti. And that woman, I walk in the kitchen because I was just kind of wandering around, and I figured I'd say hi to her, and get to know her a little bit because it was my best friend's grandmother, So I walked in there to talk to her, and she's talking to me, and I see her dump 3/4 of a cup of sugar into her spaghetti sauce.
Whoa.
My mom would throw in, depending on how much she was making, like a pinch, a 3-finger pinch, or a teaspoon, big pot, a tablespoon.
Yeah.
Just to get cut the acidity a little bit, because it gets a little too much. But you don't she put in 3/4 of a cup and enough for like 5 people in a pot. And she made exactly enough.
Yeah, you know what that's called?
Yeah, it's ketchup.
That's so gross. That is so gross.
So they're like, dinner time comes and we all sit down, and her mom's like, hand me your plate, I'll serve you. They're that kind of family because everybody does it different. And she gives me, and I said, oh, not too much, I'm not really hungry. And so she gives me a little bit, and she goes, oh, I know how you eat. You stay here all the time. And she went, blop. And there was a mound. Now, I'm Italian. And if Italian feeds you, you don't not eat. If you ask for it, you better eat every fucking drop. You will insult them. They will think it didn't taste good. So if you eat ever at an Italian's house, just take half of what you think you're going to eat, and then you could go back and get seconds. Don't ever take it all, because you're not going to finish it because it's fucking carbohydrate-laden, delicious food, but you won't finish it.
We did not.
And it's insulting.
We did not get fast food in my house until I was damn near out of high school. But it was not because we were healthy. It was because there weren't any fast food places the old days.
Well, you know what I ended up doing? This is what I ended up doing. I ate some of it till it looked like it was enough where I could be full. And then at that point, I was like, I don't want to insult her. And I thought, these people aren't Italian. They're like country folk. I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not going to eat this shit. And I was like, oh, I'm so full. I'm so full. Thank you so much. That was delicious. And I'm telling you, I put so much Parmesan cheese on that. It should have just tasted like salt. I
still do that.
I just kept putting Parmesan cheese on it, trying to make it taste better.
I still do that, and I love Italian.
I love Parmesan cheese, yeah. But I mean, I coated that shit. It looked like Mount Whitemore or something. I don't know.
I still make and jar my own homemade salsa. About
nice.
7 liters at a time, about 12 of these jars at a time.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's they seal. They're like regular mason jars that seal.
Right.
But I like salsa, and it's super expensive. I don't know why it's expensive here.
It's expensive everywhere. It sucks. We pay like $4 for a little jar like that big.
Yeah, ours are like $6. But we have a farm market like on every corner out here. That like, what the hell would I? Yeah, so I make this all the time. I keep well stocked with salsa.
I only have one thing to say to you, Dave. By the end of the stream, my address will be in the private chat. Anyway, no, I'm kidding.
When we were young, we would.
B, you're down south of the border, though.
I know.
Yeah. So
sad. Sad B.
So B,
all the good food's over the line. No, actually, it's not true. We got some awesome Mexican food here, but you better love it. Oh yeah, the Kinders. We have Kinders here.
No, those are illegal, aren't they?
Put a package together for you.
Oh, the surprise ones? I don't know.
Yeah, they're illegal because
kids were swallowing them, right? Yeah.
They just came out with 2 new things of toys, so I picked some.
Dave's got like American Temptation ideas. Let me show this to you on the camera, and you're gonna want it. But I can buy it all the time.
I'll go get a bag of weed.
Yeah,
oh no, honey, no, I'm in the Southwest. I'm good. It's everywhere out here. Nobody gives a shit.
You know what? Go.
And LA.
You would shock us if you went to the hospital and didn't have a bill after. That would shock us.
I'm across that imaginary line way up north, and I would spend the rest of my life in jail if I had that.
I broke 2 bones in the back of my hand and the bone that they go into. I had one of the best surgeons in all of North America, as far as I've been told. I broke my hand one day. One day later, I had surgery. 3 weeks later, they took the pins out and gave me painkillers. Cost me $85.
Where are you?
I have to interrupt that story. Have you ever noticed how virtually everybody you know has had, if they had to go to the doctor for something, especially when we're younger and we don't have to go that much, they always ended up having the best doctor in the state or the nation? Have you ever noticed that?
I know, right?
It's true.
I mean, everybody always says that.
I had the best doctor in the world, and I found him in Jacksonville, Florida. No, I'm kidding.
Remember, half of the doctors graduated below the median.
I've had one of the worst doctors in the world. This guy was in LA Times. He had 4 pill mills going besides being a legitimate doctor. I laughed so hard, and he one of his.
I have to explain what a pill mill is to the people who don't understand.
Candyman.
It's where people go. That's a great movie. It's where people go.
No. We call him Candyman.
Okay.
From the East Coast, they call him Candyman.
Yeah. You can go to a doctor and say, "Ooh, my neck hurts," and then they prescribe you 700 Oxycontins, 800 like Zomas, 900, some outrageous amount. And then people usually turn around and sell them, or I had a good friend who she got rich off of doing that.
Yeah, there's people in Canada doing it too.
Oh, there you go, Tubian. Dr. Feelgood. Yes, Dr. Feelgood.
So, but
and they call them a lot over on the East Coast. They call them pain clinics.
Yeah,
motherfucker, it's like a little shithole clinic, and like I used to take patients in there because they were non-ambulatory because they had like, you know, big traction on their leg or something like that. You know, they literally couldn't get anywhere. So we take them in there, and they see, there you go, and they would go in there and say, watch this. This one guy literally did this a couple times. Watch this. Oh, doc, yeah, man. Oh, that pain in my ankle is just, whew. I mean, yeah, I'm doing all the therapy. Everything you told me, man. It's just, God, it still hurts. Doctor looks at it. Okay, well, we'll give you another week or two worth. Writes him a script, hands it to him. He walks out. The guy puts his foot down. He goes, nice. Folds it up, puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm transporting people. I'm wasting my time doing that because you can't get your oxys or whatever. Yeah.
There are places in Canada you can walk into and tell them, like, I'm coming in to deal with this pain in my shoulder. And when you walk into reception, they will say, do you need to see a doctor or not? It's like, no, I just need some painkillers. No problem. Here you go.
Hi, Anus.
Yeah, it's just Uranus. Uranus has popped into the chat.
I could tell. I could hear that. Beep, beep, beep.
See, I won't give him the satisfaction. I call him TU. I just call him TU. I'm not giving him either one.
Did you hear that we figured out why that planet got its name, Uranus? Because it's a gas giant and it's methane.
So it's full of cow farts. Check.
Oh, jeez.
See, it sounds very anusy to me. I'm telling you, man. What?
Is Will dealing with child issues there? What's going on?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's losing an argument to a 4-year-old.
No, he's 12-ish, 13, I think, 10. Yeah. I don't know. He's somewhere in that age range, and he's on the spectrum. So sometimes he can be a little bit facetious. Yeah.
Can't we all, right?
Aha! There you go, Tony. He said, "Math Pig calls me Moon Planet." That's awesome.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh.
Your order of 10 cases of OxyContin has shipped. You may also be interested in a lifetime supply of Xanax. Thank you, Mice. I mean, sorry, Google Eats. I appreciate you.
My neighbor's kids just wander in my garage.
Nice.
That's cool. I'm in here smoking a J. Got the door open. They're like, "Hey, is your kid home?" I'm like, let me go check see if he wants to hang out. You know,
right?
That's how it should be. You know,
yeah.
Where everybody kind of just gets along, and you know.
Well, that's how the area I grew up in. It was kind of like that. Once we got to know people, pretty much the third time you went to someone's house, as long as they knew you were coming, you were allowed to walk in, and you were allowed to go anywhere in the house you wanted after that. Just go get your own shit, get your own drinks. Oh, third time you're here, your family from now on out.
And it was like that in the 80s.
When I was a kid, children were forbidden from going to each other into each other's houses as playmates. You were forbidden for ringing a doorbell, especially the front door, but it was perfectly okay to stand out in the driveway and scream as loud as you can, "Oh for Susie" or "Oh for Billy," whoever you're calling out.
Yeah.
But no, never ever walk into somebody's house. Never.
In the 80s.
Well, no, now they knew we were coming. We didn't just walk in. Like if we talked on the phone, they knew we were coming. We were allowed to walk in.
Oh well, we weren't allowed to use the phone either.
Oh yeah. See, I'm glad I thought I grew up I was born a little bit late, but maybe I was born just on time
and children were never allowed to answer the phone either.
Oh, we answer the phone all the time.
We had to.
Madsen residents.
Yeah, we had a script that we had to answer the phone with.
Absolutely. And if you didn't write down the name of the person who called, over.
Oh yeah, we had two older sisters who were like had boys calling and shit. Who was it? Was it Robert or David? I think his name was Jeff. There is no Jeff. Mad, you know. So yeah, you got to write that shit down. It's real.
My dad had these like professional office pads made that were like name, phone number, who did they call for, any notes that you had, like and
the time you had to write down the time they called.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right, Sarah. You better take the name and number and what the fuck it was about. Yes.
Damn right. That's old school.
That's right. We all see this is why we integrated so easily into the workforce, because we all grew up like little mini secretaries anyway. Like that was our life.
And also
we had to answer the phone. We had to take notes. We had to do grocery lists with mom, you know.
The one thing I always say though is that we know that life has consequences though.
Yeah. There's tons of Jeff.
I don't know why that's cracking me up right now, but thank you, Mice. That's great.
I don't know.
There is no Jeff.
I knew if I crossed a line with my parents, I would pay for it. You know, no matter what. I was held to a certain standard, you know. And I'm not saying beat your kids because I'm a non-spanker. I'm just saying, you know, hold people accountable. I hold my son accountable. I want him to know that in life, you're held accountable for your words and your actions. He actually just got put back on the PlayStation Network because he got suspended for 30 days. And it was really like 40 days because I don't know what he said, but he really ticked off PlayStation. And my son has autism, for those who don't know. So he says,
yeah, I just told him that while you were off. Dave said, "Is Will okay?" It sounds like somebody. I think it was Dave. He's losing an argument. It sounds like he's losing an argument with a 4-year-old. And I said, "No, I think his kid's like 10 or 12, and he might be losing depending on the day."
No, you know,
you're like exceptionally patient with him, like you can tell.
Oh,
I couldn't do it.
You have to be. I grew up around.
I know.
I grew up around like. I knew after a certain time I couldn't mess with my parents because they were drinking. I knew that my parents had little to no patience at all whatsoever. So I would go out to other people looking for someone to show me emotions, you know. And it wasn't always. I didn't always put myself in the greatest situation, you know, because I was seeking what I considered love, but it was just, you know, things I considered lacking, you know. So I try to. Be, you know, not everything, but I try to just have patience.
Everybody tries to be, baby. I know.
Yeah.
I used to always say, just be better. And then Melania Trump ruined it because that was her saying, be better. But it sounds different when a millionaire is saying it than when
better. That was all she could come up with.
She got trashed for that because you know
I have better names on all the streams than that. Like today, I picked Be Topical.
But all the first ladies had initiatives. They had things going on. What did Melania Trump have going on? What initiative?
Melania.
Melania, sorry. Shit. What did she bring? What did she?
She was in the White House trying not to suck his dick every day.
She was her thing that she had going was not really a public thing. It was the pornos that she made in the Lincoln bedroom.
Her OnlyFans page.
Yeah, I bet she got a pretty penny for those. But you know, she's one of the only first ladies that I know that I'm sure, you know, if you Google it, you'll find a few. But she just really didn't have any initiatives. Like Michelle Obama wanted to feed school kids. Even Barbara Bush, the first one and the second one, they both had initiatives.
It's not everybody's thing, right? Like, I don't think that was ever her position, that she was going to leverage that into some great moment in her life. That wasn't, you know, it just didn't seem like that was the game plan.
Well, she was the first lady in my lifetime that had absolutely zero substance to her. Every other first lady through my entire life has had either they were either a degreed person or they had a background in teaching or even, you know, that they were a church leader or something. That they were more than just a trophy wife or something like that. That's what she was so disappointing about, was that she had no substance behind her.
They quit being trophy wives before Jackie O. Like somebody else started that. I can't remember who it is now.
Jackie O was a trophy wife because she was so elegant and attractive and stuff. Jackie O was highly educated.
Yeah, but I thought she was active. She wasn't?
I don't remember that far back to be honest.
Okay, interesting. But that's what I was saying was around that time era is what I meant. Forward, we have all these active women. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember Jackie. I wasn't alive. I have no clue.
She was one of the first ladies. Melania Trump was one of the first ladies that I've was just wondered, like, what did she actually do while she was there? Because you could look everybody else up and there'll just be pages of things you never heard of that they helped, you know.
Yeah. Well, she did reorganize the garden, right?
I saw, to grass.
TU says, I've already lost the pool.
Yeah, I lost that a long time ago, too.
I thought she was going to run by now.
At least a year to make all those Christmas trees black.
I figured she just walked around and touched them.
Oh. Like the opposite of Frozen.
Right. That's because she's so dead inside because she's married to him.
Oh, that's awesome, theoretically.
I would be.
And
no,
and
fuck
I think
that.
I'm one of the.
I'd leave. She can leave whenever she wants, but I guarantee you they have a prenup.
They have a prenup.
And she hasn't left him because she has nothing. He got him a hot wife with nothing.
See, I think I'm one of the few people that think she's not very attractive.
No, I don't think she's.
I don't think so whatsoever.
But everybody does.
I mean, she's always frowning, just like him.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you look at her next to Trump, yeah, she looks good, but Trump looks like a fucking troll. But if you take her away from Trump and just look at her, she's really not that hot.
I think it's more than just you know, I hate to quote a song, but it's more than just, you know, beauty's more than skin deep, to be as cliche as hell. Because we know kind of who she is, it makes her ugly. At least in my eyes.
Beauty is more than skin deep, but it's the outside beauty that gets you laid.
True.
Well,
true. This chin and this schnoz.
I have a theory that she has a prenup, but it's a staged prenup. So if she stayed with him until the end of the presidency, past the election, she got a certain amount. And if she stays with him until he gets elected again, if he runs for president, that in the case that he gets elected again, she would get a larger sum of money out of that, or a larger portion. And I think she
never agreed to that.
But I think she realizes if she leaves now, he's $420 million in debt, and she's not getting much. But if he gets elected again, all those people are going to dump money into his campaign and into his businesses again. And she stands, if she left right after he got elected again, she'd make 10 times as much leaving. So I think that's probably the plan.
Randy, I'm hotter than Melania, and I'm an old bald guy.
I'm not positive, but I think she has been married to him longer than any other wife.
Oh yeah, she's made it longer than anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell by their son.
Yeah.
Oh,
like he's like 12 or 13 right now, right?
I feel so sorry for that kid. I mean,
what's his? Oh, Barron.
So if I was Barron,
it's not like he's been raised by them.
Oh my God! And do you see him in front of the cameras? He looks cocky like his father already. I'm like,
I would move.
Fuck.
If I was Barron, I would move to a foreign country. The second I turned 18, I would be gone and never come back to America.
Sure, Dad, I'll run Trump Towers in Belize.
Yeah, exactly. Because once people there's going to be people that hate him just because of who he is, and they'll never get to know him. They will never get to know. I know people who are related to Stacey Koon and Lawrence Powell, the people who beat Rodney King, and they still have stigma against them. And they were like, you know, we were young when it happened. And I know people my age, people still won't talk to them because of that, because of their last name.
Oh, who was?
So those stigmas, they you know, they stick around, and people like. You know, I live in LA, but people do not forget. And they'll tell their kid, like, oh no, this guy did that. And then they did that. You know, they'll tell everybody, you know. So he's got a tough road.
Yeah, when you live in a small town, it's like that too. Where I grew up, when I got to high school, I walked my first day of school, first class, right? I walk into the lab. And the science teacher says, what's your name? And I told him, and he said, oh, not another Madsen. And I was like, fuck me. Because everywhere I went, I was the sixth one. They were like, oh God, here comes another fucking Madsen. It's been 2 years, huh?
Oh, geez.
You know, or a year.
I was always
that's when we got the chemistry lab rebuilt.
Good.
It was the same in my family. I was always the fifth. And even it got so annoying that still to this day, people still call me my sister's name's little brother. They'll say, oh, that's little brother. I'm like, I'm old. I am no one's little. I'm taller than she is. Technically, she's
I used to get
sister.
that with my brother, but I didn't mind it.
My little brother was lucky. My older brother and I were a year and a half apart. My younger brother's 5 years. And between that age difference and the moving around our family he never went to a single school or had a single teacher that we had. He never had to put up with what we caused.
I had a few, but not a lot. But my oldest sister used to always go, "This is my little brother."
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
You know, I didn't mind the stigma, but like my sister was like, I had one brother who was a real life Urkel. Then I had my sister who was like militant, outspoken, and I just wanted to like smoke pot and be left alone. So the second they heard my last name, you know, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna watch you," and I'm like, "Please don't, please don't."
No, I had 2 older sisters, and I started working at the PNE. We talked about that on the other stream. I started working as a carny when I was 2 weeks before my 13th birthday. So I was working through the whole summers for 4 years. I was off the chain at 13 years old. If I wanted to go out and party, I'd just tell my parents, "Hey, I'm working tonight." Okay.
Yeah.
And I had no parental controls at all on me. It was pretty insane.
I feel the same way. I look back at all the insane things that I did as a kid, and it kind of makes me shiver. Because if my kid did it, I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed. I would be so mad. My cousin and I, we were such liars. We would tell our parents, like, "Hey, I want to spend the night at so-and-so's house," and they never checked because it's my cousin. We would go to Tijuana. We could have been chucked it. We got arrested at least 3 different times. Twice we got taken to an alley and robbed twice.
I got felony stopped on the I-5, and my parents didn't know I was out of the country.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what part of the I-5?
Just going through. Do you know like where the Trans-Canada Highway turns into the I-5 and you go through the top side of Washington State?
Yes, I've been there.
Okay,
yes, I've been there.
Just outside of Ferndale.
Awesome.
Washington.
Okay.
So we're in a red Mustang, and my buddy says, "Well, you can drive because I'm tired and I've been working all day, and I know you want to drive. So hit it, let's go." So I'm driving this Mustang down the highway, and we're passing everybody. They're all pulling over. It's after rush hour, so there's clear patches in the road. So there's this one long stretch where there's a dip and it comes up to an overpass. And I go under the overpass at about 150. And as we come out the other side of the overpass, we see the cop sitting there with the radar on. So he pulls us over, and we're thinking, "Oh, this is not going to be good. Somebody else is going to have to drive. I'm going to be up in a lot of trouble here." So the guy in the passenger seat owns the car. I'm the driving, and so we're like a mess. So the cop doesn't come up to the car, but the next thing we know, another cop pulls up on the right-hand side of the shoulder. Another one pulls up in front of us, blocks the bumper, and another one blocks the lane behind us. And we see the guy shoulder the shotgun and start giving us instructions. "Driver, hold your arms out of the car, drop the keys on the ground, reach outside the car, open the door." And this guy comes up, puts his foot on my ass, and he's holding a shotgun 6 inches away from the middle of my back. And we're like, "Holy fuck, dude, we were just speeding." But it turns out there was a bank robbery and somebody in a red Mustang, not the same year, not with BC plates, but there was a robbery and somebody fled the scene in a red Mustang. So
blame Canada. Blame Canada.
What was really cool is after they ran our IDs and all that, they patted us on the head and said, "Hey, sorry about that," and sent us on our way. And I didn't even get a ticket.
Yeah, because they almost shot you.
Sorry about that. We'll forego the ticket because we almost killed you. We're even
that's
now.
awesome. Oh, that's awesome. That's way better than there was.
Where'd Jenny go? We lost to
Actually,
Jenny.
that's my question. Where is she?
I don't know.
It was DD Cooper.
Did she lose connection? Internet connection or something?
My a long time ago, my ex-wife and I, we fought like cats and dogs. Shocker. So we went to Disneyland. She fell at California Adventure. We went home. It was a horrible day. It was a horrible weekend, horrible time. We're driving home, and I asked her, like, "Hey, did you feed the kid?" And she looks at me. She's like, "I thought you did." My son was still like stroller, you know. So I'm like, "Oh my God, I have to do everything." Typical fight, tell you the honest truth, of two people who are just done with each other. And I tell her, we're driving through LA. I said, "Don't pull over in this part of LA. You're something. Do not pull over." She thought I was joking. She pulls over in one of the worst parts of LA, gets out of the car, and runs down the street. So what she didn't know is that people in East LA have never seen a white woman running through the hood in their mother effing life. They got scared. No, I'm like in the car, and these cholas were like, I saw them. They picked up their phones. They're like calling 911. Okay, so we're dramatic. We're both dramatic. Okay, I corral her in the car, and she's a control freak, so it's her car, and I'm like, all right, you're driving. We get on the freeway, and then I'm finally relaxed and I'm chilling, and I notice there's no cars behind us. I'm like, what's going on? The LAPD came with like 14 cruisers because
people called 911 and thought that you like.
And LA is kidnapping capital. You get kidnapped for no reason in LA. I'm
never coming to LA. I'm sorry, dude. You'll have to come visit me. I ain't fucking coming out there.
So long story short, they did full felony stop on my ex-wife and I. But our IDs matched. We had the same address, you know. It was our kid, you know. But the funny part was, my mom she's at her work, and they have a TV with cable at the job, and she's watching the news, and it said possible kidnapping. My mom is sitting there, she's eating her lunch, and she's like, because the whole time I'm on the freeway like this, my phone's ringing, and this one cop was like, "Don't be stupid and pick that up." I was like, "Hey man, I know how it goes.
You stand here with your arms in there and do exactly what you're told. That's what you do."
Oh no, they had us on the ground. They put my ex-wife and I in opposite cars. And the thing is, like, she didn't know what to do, and I'm on the ground, and I'm like, and I literally said that. I said, "She's white and she's from the valley. She has no idea what you guys are saying." And it was true, because she's really shitty at following instructions, and she was shaking and panicking. The cop was like, "Oh crap," and he just walked up to her and cuffed her, like, because you know they tell you walk backwards, you know.
And she's like, "What am I doing? What are you doing?"
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. But we ended up on like 3 different news stations because they shut down the whole freeway. And all LA is nothing but high-speed chases and like really, you know, fast stories all the time. And
lots of traffic that you will sit in for hours.
Oh yeah.
That city, hours.
They also have like
going
9 traffic helicopters that chase the police cars around when they hear a report. Those helicopters are everywhere.
So by my the dispensary I go to is at the end of the runway where they all park of the Van Nuys Airport. So you could drive by and you see every single channel. and they have multiple choppers because, you know, there's always some idiot that thinks they can get away from the cops. There's LA's lit. It is no joke around.
Yeah, they don't wait for a report to come in. They're already flying around going any minute now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like hell.
No, the thing is, when people start losing their job, society goes down, and people start doing crazier stuff. It's always
personally, I was talking about like the just traffic part because I've been through stuff like that, and it's with my family and such. And it's like I can't stand like being in traffic for like over an hour, let alone anything longer than what it sounds like for LA. Because
well,
like, how many hours usually is it?
In LA, Chicago, Boston, Orlando, where else was I? Those places and a couple other ones. I literally would sit in traffic for 3 hours trying to get around the city. And that was on the outside loop of the city.
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta, Florida, I've been there, if you're saying that.
There's times where I'll because the freeway is actually really convenient when no one's on it.
Oh yeah.
So when you're going, you know, whenever I'm going south towards LA, I'm like, hey, I got here in 25 minutes. That's awesome. Especially with the pandemic. I've been really spoiled because a lot of people really have been staying home. You know, a lot of people really have been. So
they're all going to come back in like a year and you're going to be like, fuck this traffic.
You know what? That happens every Sunday because I forget because everyone's coming back into town. And I'll get on the freeway. I'll go because I get up early and I go, you know, I go shopping. I go to thrift stores and stuff. And I'll get on the freeway and I'm like, why the F did I get on the freeway? You know, because I know every side street in LA. I can get you anywhere in Los Angeles, you know.
Right.
And it's
never
easier.
in that traffic, right?
Oh, it's awful.
I got caught in a major traffic jam here a couple of weeks ago. It took me. I was really pissed. It took like 5 minutes to get through downtown.
5 minutes? You know what? You tell that guy with that horse and carriage. Side of the road.
Well, I don't know if any of you guys have ever driven through Vancouver, but I'm pretty sure we have the worst drivers on earth. And there's more accidents. I mean, you don't go anywhere without checking the traffic report for accidents up here. And there's bridges and tunnels everywhere. But right now, all of the university kids are, you know, none of them are going to university. And half of the high school kids are only going in 1 or 2 days a week or whatever it is. And I don't think any of the elementary kids are going in. And half of the people are going to working from home. And it's like you say, like, you know, I left work in traffic. I left work in the middle of the night. I got off at 1 a.m. I got home and I live a long, long way away, 47 minutes. I made the same trip basically at the very beginning of our rush hour in 59 minutes. It was hardly any different because there's no one on the roads. Yeah.
And I've been really spoiled with that because I know, like you said, when the pandemic's over, there's 10 million people that just live in LA County. And if you ever want to see what 10 million people look like, just get on the freeway. You won't see 10 million people, but you'll feel like you're in the soup of 10 million people. You know, it's insane.
It might have only been 9.5 when I was there, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
See, I would never ever get on the LA freeways if I was out there visiting. I just, you know, we see all these pictures of, you know, from a flyover country person. We look at those freeways like I think it's the 405 is the picture that I've seen so much, and there's like literally 10 or 12 lanes of traffic, and it's bumper to bumper, and nobody's moving faster than 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
How could you even imagine wanting to pull on the freeway under those conditions?
You don't. But try being in a tractor trailer where you have to be on the freeway.
Yeah, you're not allowed to take those shortcuts.
Yeah, because they will tell you that most cities you can't go into the city unless you're delivering.
Yep.
And if they see you drive through areas, you're fucked. They'll take the shit out of you.
We have a ton of laws against big rigs here because of traffic. Like they have to be over in the far right lane. Left lane is for speed demons like myself, you know. And if someone, I've seen the CHP, they make more money off of big trucks than they do us.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
They make way more money off of big trucks.
Dude, let me ask you this: if you got a seatbelt ticket, how much would it cost you?
Let me Alexa, how much does the average seatbelt ticket cost in the state of California?
Here's something I found on the web. According to justanswer.com, as of January 1st, 2004, the cost of a seatbelt ticket more than tripled, and now runs from $78 to $89 on a first offense, depending upon the county.
So around $100, but keep in mind.
So
I got a speeding ticket and it was $1,400. So they don't mess around here. They do not mess around here.
No, California doesn't, and they'll ding the shit out of your DAC report if you're a truck driver too.
Oh, they want to take your license.
So
they don't play here.
So when I was a new driver in 2007, and I got pulled over in 2007, 13 years ago. I got pulled over for a seatbelt ticket in a small area in Pennsylvania that's not high-priced area or anything, and my seatbelt ticket was $150.
If I'm in town here, I can drive right past the sheriff, the state patrol, and the local cop without wearing a seatbelt. And they just kind of wait and say hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I knew. I grew up in a town like that. I had the local cop pulled me over and said, "Hey, you don't have a driver's license yet." And I said, "No, sir, I don't." And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I drove my mom's car down to the store and I'm heading back to the college right now where she is. She's at the science lab." And he said, "All right, drive careful." And he let me go. Because he knew my parents.
My neighbor across the street, who he's Mormon and he's an amazing human being. He's a Los Angeles County sheriff. One day I'm driving and he pulls up next to me and he's like, "You don't have a license." I said, "How do you know that?" He's like, "You know how I know that." And we're driving downhill and talking. And this one lady's next to him, and like I'm in the far right lane, he's in the middle, and this lady is like just driving and looking at us like, what the hell is going on right now? Because
around here we can have 14, 15-year-olds driving a 10-ton farming rig down the main street.
Yep.
And like it's nothing, and they handle them great.
Yeah, because as soon as they were old enough to touch the pedals, their parents taught them. I know guys. It's like that in Ohio too, Jenny. And I know guys out there that their dad literally put a wooden block on the pedals and taught them how to drive, and they were like 8 or 9 or something. Yep. And by the time they were 13, they could drive a tractor trailer like it was nothing. And they're all truck drivers now.
As someone who drives a tractor, it's a skill. It's a skill that people don't have anymore.
But what's also really nice around here, and this is where it's hard in these days, particularly where everybody is pissed off and rightfully so at police departments and how they just are beating the fuck out of people and everything. Yeah. Around here, the cop is your friend. I mean, if I'm pulled over, I pulled over one day just to roll a cigarette, okay? And I was midway through it, and a cop pulls up behind me. Comes to the window and says, "Is everything okay? Can I help?" "Yeah, I'm just rolling a cigarette." "Oh, okay. We'll see ya."
Yeah, they're just making sure you're okay, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so different.
Out here, they would have stolen your cigarette and smashed it, and then walked away.
Do you guys have cell phone laws where you are, like driving with your cell phone? Yeah.
Oh, that's all over the United States.
Is it? Okay. Do you know what the fines are for doing that, and what your first offense, second offense?
Now that depends on the state you're in.
I'm gonna look that up.
But it's pretty much, as far as I know, I know for a fact, truck drivers can get fined like $1,500 or $2,000, and this was years ago when I was over the road. It's probably higher now. You have to use hands-free if you're in a truck.
Why are these tickets are so low? I guess you know what's really funny? When I got my speeding tickets, it helped me slow the hell down.
It hurts, doesn't it?
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. I got 2. So in 2018, I believe, I ended up paying almost $3,000 in speeding tickets to the state of California.
I can't even afford that, you asshole.
Most people lose their license. That's what they do on purpose. If you're a speed demon, they tax you.
Yeah.
Well, for the first year I had a super bike, you get 3 points for every speeding ticket. I got 24 points in my first year. I surrendered my license.
Yeah, exactly.
But I looked it up, and the seatbelt fine in British Columbia is $167 per passenger.
That's expensive.
And the second offense because they keep track of your record, the second offense for talking on your phone while driving is $497.
Yeah.
Oof.
They treat around here, both Wisconsin, I'm right on the border, so Wisconsin and Minnesota treat cell phone use very seriously. In Minnesota, hands-free all the time. In Wisconsin, it's hands-free if you're in a construction zone. If they see you with a phone in your hand in a construction zone, it's a huge fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the school zone is worse. Yeah.
But oh jeez.
They're hungry
Yeah, you
here.
can Dave, here you can go from one state to the other, and on the highway they have a sign with a cell phone with a line through, and it says hands free. And they fucking mean it, man. I'm not. I've seen truck drivers going down the road, older guys. Remember when they had the slide phones with the big keyboard?
Oh,
and Cord, that's how long ago I was over the road. And they got their elbows and they're texting it, and I'm going, you're driving an 80,000-pound bullet that can kill dozens of people.
But they
what are you doing right now?
The auto drive on, like they have on The Simpsons, right?
I miss those old early episodes. Those were great episodes.
Yes. I wish.
I recently, I'm surprised that's not on the internet. There was one time I'm on the 5 freeway, headed north, and there's one car, and it's causing traffic. So I'm in my truck, and I'm like, man, the second I get an opening, I'm gonna tear this road open, and I go around everybody, and in a Suburban that's packed down, there's 2 people. The driver and the passenger are both on their cell phones.
Yeah.
And they're in the fast lane. So I rolled down my window and I'm like, hey, what the F? The passenger, she almost dropped her cell phone. I was hoping she did drop her cell phone. She bumbled her cell phone. Jeez. And like everybody was like flashing their headlights, and like people were thanking me as they were driving by. They were like, thank you. Because I pulled all the way over and the people were just flying past me the second they had an opening, you know.
Will, are you an owner-operator? Or is that your deal? Or
I work on for trucks?
Yeah.
No. I drive a Ford F-150, and I have a 1988 Ford F-150. When I'm feeling depressed and my ego is this big, I get in my big truck. And I go and drive around with my cowboy hat on in my big truck.
Nice.
You know, Will, I've been trying to figure out for the last month since we've been like hanging out. Ford, really?
I have 3.
There had to be something wrong with you.
I own not 1, not 2, but 3 Ford, and I'm about to say
you should get a nice Silverado.
No, but my truck. The thing about my F1, the 88, I'm holding out because people turn those into monster trucks. So I've been getting some really interesting offers.
Yeah.
I have a 2000 and I think it's like a 2008 or something. It's a lemon. It's a piece of junk. And if I could push that thing down a cliff, take the plates off, and I totally would.